Kevin, I'm loving this end of year content. This is the 2023 end of year Elite Heat Awards, wrestling awards generally. It's been a great year, Kevin. We've had so much fun this year. We've brought you guys so many shows, you great listeners. Kevin, firstly though, how you doing, pal?
Oh, pal, I'm lovely. It's been a hell of a year, man. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I just want to shout out a couple of just quick little bits of data. This is on the YouTube side of things, just for some, I guess, context and to let you guys in on how big of a year this was for us. So 2022, Kevin, we're like WWE. We're in the doldrums. We're down and out. No content ideas. We were doing live streams once a month. Lazy effort from myself particularly, but just generally as a show. 2022 on YouTube, 10.8K views. 1.4K watch hours, and we gained 17 subs. So hardly a fantastic year by any means. This year, 63.1K views. So we've gone up times like 6.5, 4.6K, so nearly 5K watch hours, which that alone, in like 8 months, 9 months, we were able to crack the 4K watch hour threshold that you need for YouTube monetization. But we did that in like 8 months this year, 4.6K total and counting. Gained 207 and counting subs. We're ticking along. We're going to get to 1,000 next year. That's the goal. So, Kevin, great stuff, pal. Shout out our show. Shout out our listeners. Big ups.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Honestly, the statistics this year from a YouTube perspective have been just unbelievable. Next year we're taking over the audio side. We're going to figure that out. You know, we got like 15 5-star reviews last time I looked on Spotify, which is absolutely incredible. Can we get like a few more of those? Can we get to like 20 soon later on? Yeah, it's been incredible. The return of Pepsi Phil has boosted numbers everywhere. WWE's interest is peaking right now, honestly. Like, you could argue this is the peak interest for 2023 in WWE. 2024 is going to be big, massive intrigue. We're going to be here talking about everything, pal. So, yeah, I can't wait.
And Kevin, regarding intrigue, it's be remiss of me not to bring this up just while we're on that. Thinking of December, like currently it's December 17th for me, it's December 16th for you. This kind of time period, traditionally, I'll give you just two quick examples. Everyone's listening to this has probably lived this all. 2015, this time of year, we're watching Sheamus and the League of Nations running around, punching babyface Roman Reigns every week. As like Stephanie McMahon was screaming at Roman Reigns every week for this. And then you fast forward to 2018, Kevin, when Vince McMahon had just totally given up writing this show and he was just making jokes, having Dean Ambrose coming out, needling himself up the arse, and you had Drake Maverick pissing on a robe. Kevin, December 16, this time of year, you had literally Vince, Shane, Stephanie, and Triple H in the ring apologizing to fans that they weren't trying, that the shows need to be better and the ratings were down. This time, Kevin, 5 years ago, the WWE brass were apologizing to us as fans for how bad things were. Not doing anything about it because 2019 was worse, but they were apologizing on Raw nonetheless. So, Kevin,
I remember that.
It's great to see. Interest is back up. You love to see it, pal.
I love to see it, pal. Well, I'm ready to get to this podcast, pal. You know, let's get to it, bro. Let's talk about the awards, the Elite Heat Awards for 2023. This is very spicy, very saucy. We're gonna do a number of awards. We're gonna do like best wrestler, best. We're gonna do some podcast awards. Best take, worst take, best rant, best podcast episode. A lot of fun stuff we got going on here, pal. This is exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And if you're tuning in, you're not really used to listening to like a late hate hour show. We're only going to do a couple of like our awards, just like a small section at the start. Then we're going to do all like the your factions of the year, and as Kevin said, all these other ones that we'll get to shortly. Most disgusting promotional tactic is my favorite award. Clown of the year, I'm him. Wrestling moment of the year. There's a bunch of fun awards to come. Worst booker and promoter of the year, pal. So we'll get to that. But first, Kevin, we'll start off with award one. This is Elite Heat. Worst take of the year, 2023. Kevin, this one really, you threw smoke and wood on the fire the other day when we made Elite Heat Extra in what you did as a character assassination of me, Jimmy, JTE. You came out strong. 5 minutes, that first 5 minutes of that episode, which is the average view duration of that, by the way. So the whole first 5 minutes was Kevin going after me, trying to put his foot on my throat, coming after my takes, saying I've had a banner year for bad takes in 2023, which I was taken aback. I've listened to that extra back, which if you're listening on our audio platforms, these are YouTube exclusive extras. So check us out on YouTube, chuck us a sub there. Kevin went after me. So Kevin,
Yep.
I threw it to the listeners. I said, okay, all well and good. Let's do a poll. So the poll, I had 4 takes that I have. So, well, not I have, just the show has. Number 1, this was a take by you, Kevin. In our late 2023 draft, you confidently drafted Ronda Rousey above legends like Bryan Danielson, most namely.
Yep.
Then a minute later, when I was laughing, saying, what the hell, why'd you do that? You doubled down and said dismissively, arrogantly, but Ronda Rousey's a great pick. What do you mean?
Yep.
So that was your worst take of the year, objectively.
Wow.
Then my take, which I'm throwing this in there just because of what's happening at the moment, the If You Want Punk and WWE played in 2K one. As I said in the extra, I don't think at the moment that's that bad. We'll wait and see, but at the moment I've thrown it in there just to be fair. Then I threw your take in there. Roman Reigns retaining at WrestleMania 39 was a legitimately good decision. It wasn't. You know it. I know it. The listeners know it.
What?
Dumb take.
This is
Next,
ridiculous.
Finally,
Hold on.
my
Hold the
Cena
phone.
theory-
Hold the phone. This is ridiculous. Okay, this is ridiculous. I've had enough of this, pal.
Well, Kevin, let me finish out the final one.
Go ahead.
My worst take of the year.
Go ahead.
Cena versus Austin Theory should main event WrestleMania 39 night 1. At the time, there was a legitimately good take. I'll get to that. Anyway, Kevin, explain yourself.
You have rigged this poll. You've rigged this section. You conveniently left off 2 of your worst takes. You know?
No, I didn't.
You conveniently left off your take of 1, Vince McMahon and Kevin Nash being top 30 wrestlers. Those could be 2 takes in and of themselves. Kevin Nash being a top 25 wrestler.
They're top 30. They're top 30 all the time.
Vince McMahon being top 29, being number 29. Vince McMahon being number 29, that's a bad take. Kevin Nash being number 25, that's a bad take. Vince McMahon and Kevin Nash both being over CM Punk all time is a bad take. That's 3 bad takes right there alone that you left off.
No, it's not. Maybe
It's
the
3.
Punk part of it is.
It's 3.
Those 2 aren't.
And then you put in my take of Roman Reigns retaining at WrestleMania 39, which is not a bad take at all.
What? That's been a good decision for the company?
Yeah, it has. The company's making more money than ever. They're thriving. They're about to secure a multi-billion-dollar deal for Monday Night Raw with Warner Bros. Discovery, and they're going to kill AEW as a business. So they're doing well with Roman Reigns sitting on his couch.
I guess Roman wasting his prime sitting at home on his couch doing nothing is a great use of your prime top star.
Now you're missing.
What do you mean?
You put my take here of Roman retaining at WrestleMania 39 being a good decision, but you left out your take about Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber, where you're like, that was great. It was a great move. There's plenty of interference. Great job with all the interference in Roman Reigns matches. You left that out. Terrible take at Elimination Chamber. And then, you did a 180 completely. Your attitude changed on Roman Reigns. You went for this Roman Reigns fanboy, and now you're a Roman Reigns hater for attention, pal. So that is a worst. Those are all worst takes. I named 5 worst takes than mine.
That Blossom's not even a take. That's a character assassination. That's a hit job. What part of that's not even a take? What do you mean? And you've lumped the 3 with the top 50 all the time. Oh, putting Kevin Nash top 25. When, as we established, NWO member, WWF champion for like most of the new generation era. Kevin, we established that one. Vince, without him, there wouldn't be the Attitude Era.
He's not
Kevin,
a wrestler.
Get over this.
He's not a wrestler.
Yes, he is.
Character.
He wrestled at 17,
He's an
19, 22. Big time WrestleMania main events. He's done more WrestleMania than most of your favorite wrestlers. He just has. Like
who?
What is this? Kevin, I'm struggling to... And then the poll itself right now, Kevin, 3 hours this poll's been up.
Yep.
The poll has 20 votes.
Yep.
It's a tie, which is pretty funny. At the moment, we've got 40% of the poll have your Ronda Rousey take.
Fair.
And 40% have my Cena Theory take.
Fair.
And then the rest is other. Now, in fairness to you, pal, takes of you in this poll have 40% of the votes. Takes of mine have 60%.
Yeah.
So... on that basis,
and you left out your bad takes. You left out your
bad
top 30
they're
takes.
not bad takes.
And you left out your bad take about Roman and the Elimination Chamber. Those are bad. Those are both bad takes. Terrible takes.
That's not at the time, it was misguided.
Terrible
at the
takes.
time, it was misguided.
You left out both your bad takes. So this is rigged. This is unfair. I'm scrapping this award. I'm making an executive decision as one half of this podcast.
No, you're not. No,
I'm scrapping this award.
You did this
I'm
during our Shield
scrapping this.
Bloodline episode.
Ridiculous.
You made the supermarket test category and rigged it. You rigged it, pal. I'm not allowing it to this
Supermarket test is
award.
a legitimate test of popularity amongst wrestlers, pal. That is a legitimate survey. That's a survey, pal. It's like Family Feud.
Which supermarket are we talking about, pal? Are we in whatever? Anyway, pal, we're not scrapping this
Jedi,
award.
Saudi Arabia, pal. I'm gonna interview 100 people at a farmer's market. All right, and I'm gonna ask them whose take is worse, and I'm gonna start listing all your takes, and we'll see who has the worst take.
Are there even farmers markets in Jedi, Saudi Arabia? As you said, Jeddah, pal. I don't know, pal.
Jedi,
what I will say is this is a blistering category.
This is ridiculous. This is a hit job. This is rigged.
You're salty. You said the Ronda Rousey take. That's why you're doing this.
I feel like Bret Hart in Montreal in 1997. I'm being screwed unfairly from there was this great discussion was not discussed with me prior. This is not ran by me prior. This is not fair. You're going off the script, pal. You're using your booking power, pal. This is ridiculous.
I'm going off the script. The script was written. The run sheet was made 2 days
ridiculous.
ago. Kevin, no. I'm not copying this, pal.
This is not
fair. We're co-winners of this award. My Cena
your take is worse. I'm gonna ask the listeners.
Trash.
I'm gonna ask the listeners who has the worst take. The takes that were not here.
I did that. I did that on the poll.
What's the worst take? JTE saying that Kevin Nash is top 25. JT saying that Vince McMahon is number 29 all time. JT having Kevin Nash and Vince McMahon both above CM Punk all time. Which one of those are any of those worse than the four nominees from this category?
That's why we had another category in the poll.
Worse, pal. Ridiculous.
No, whatever. We'll park it there. That one, we'll let the listeners go from there. That's a blistering first award. So an inconclusive category. That one is inconclusive. Next award, Kevin.
This is rigged.
We move. This one's more objective. The listeners voted on this one about a week ago. Best Elite Heat podcast episode of the year. We've had some good ones, pal. Some of my favorites that I can remember, the WWE's Broken Tony Khan got amazing reception. How WWE won 2023 was our year in review show. I thought that was a genuinely really good episode. It summed up our year really well. The wrestling year, awesome. Our heated Cody Roman debate from WrestleMania 39. That was a fun one.
Yeah,
that felt like legitimately we were undisputed with Skip and Shannon, so that felt like. And then Kevin, the winner. Do you want to announce the winner, pal?
Yes, the 2023 Elite Heat Draft. Wow, yeah, that was an incredible podcast. Me personally, if I'm being biased, I think our best episode is how WWE broke Tony Khan. I think that was my favorite. That's the best one we've done. But the Elite Heat Draft was awesome. I remember when I came up with that idea, I was like, "Oh, this is a winner. We got something here, pal. We got one here, pal." And we did. And that turned out really well, and it was a lot of fun. And it gave birth to one of my worst take. Easily my worst take. I have to formally apologize again to Bryan Danielson for selecting Ronda Rousey over him and all the other wrestlers that I selected her over. If Liv Morgan was available, I should have picked Liv Morgan. I don't know what kind of speaking of Liv Morgan, I don't know what I was smoking when we recorded that podcast. Sorry, too far, guys. But yeah, no, the Elite Heat Draft, that was a phenomenal episode, pal.
No, I love doing that. That was genuinely, I'd say, I mean, I have fun with, by and large, most of the shows we do. Really, I think you guys as listeners can tell, like, well, we have fun doing the show. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. So, yeah, that episode was the funnest. Like, that one just flowed so well. I was legitimately so into it. I know, Kevin was the same. That's so fun to listen back to as well, especially now, 8 months later. You can really sort of see with our draft picks how they've aged. Personally speaking, I listened to that back the other day. Like, you won the midsection of that draft. I won like the back end when like you got to the Ronda Rousey points and all that. And then like the top picks is debatable. It's like, which top picks do you want? We both had big names.
I had a killer tag team division. My tag team division was on fire. My tag team division is what AEW promised their tag team division would be like. But I digress.
And your women's division was,
Charlotte Flair punching referees, pal. That's my women's division.
Also, heads up for 2024 for our listeners, we're doing another Elite Heat draft in coming months. That's like our yearly thing now. That's one of our.
Speaking of yearly things, we're gonna be doing the roast of the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Awards. As soon as that drops, we're gonna roast the hell out of those awards. So I can't wait for that.
Yeah, that's always terrible. I wonder what they'll do this coming year now that AEW is in the dump. So we'll see how. So that could actually be a genuinely interesting year. But yeah, Elite Heat draft, clear winner. Unlike the takes category, very like undisputed that award winner. So Kevin, next we move. Do you want to introduce the next category?
Yes, I love this. This is my personal favorite for our awards. The best Elite Heat rant. So you have you, JB. I nearly died purchasing Elimination Chamber 2024 tickets. That was a hell of a rant. Mine, everything wrong with SummerSlam 2020. Everything wrong with SummerSlam 2010. My also be again. My rant about Adam Copeland blocking me on Twitter. And then yours, the final days of the World Heavyweight Championship. I want to interject and just say this. Your rant, I think, should be the winner. I haven't seen the poll results. You'll have to tell me. Your rant about the Elimination Chamber 2024, that should be the winner. That was an incredible rant. That's one of the best rants I think that we've ever done collectively throughout this entire show. That doesn't even come close, pal. That was funny. Oh man, that was great.
Well, pal, I put this to a poll. That one's the clear leader. That's got nearly half the votes at the moment. So yeah, what I titled as "Buying Elimination Chamber 2024 tickets nearly killed me." When I fired my computer with cause as the site was crashing because Nick Khan was trying to make me purchase $2,000 ringside seats. I was just trying to buy tickets. Like we've been over that. We did the rant. You can go check that out. It's appropriately titled Elimination Chamber tickets. Yada yada. Yeah, that rant was awesome. I was going to shout out your one as well. That SummerSlam 2010 one. I watched that back yesterday. I was laughing hysterically. That was brilliant. Like the way you just yelled, you just out of nowhere, Skip Sheffield, Michael Tarver, and like you were just yelling these jobbers' names, and like this is who you wanted Cena to job to. I'm glad Cena buried them. You just went off. Like that was one of your great rants.
Yeah, I had to correct the narrative about John Cena burying the Nexus. Like you really wanted Skip Sheffield to have a win, a clean W over John Felix Anthony Cena Jr. That's what people really wanted in the win column. Like ridiculous. But yeah. I digress.
And then just as far as like that Adam Coben one you did as well, it wasn't like the yelling sort of rant like my mum in the Elimination Chamber. That Adam Copeland rant is some of the best sarcasm and best like one-liners. This is the way you deliver the first like the whole thing. It's very kind of you have to watch it
very
back.
conniving.
You have to watch it back to really appreciate it. Like if you really pay attention to everything Kevin says, it's like on these CM Punk promos. You can study, you can analyze. It was genuinely really good. So shout out Kevin for those ones. But yeah, I'll accept the award, pal. The screaming about Elimination Chamber ticket buying.
Yeah,
pal,
I mean you broke me, pal. So
I legitimately thought I was going to kill you in that rant. I've never heard you laugh like that. I was actually worried. So
it was great.
There you go, pal. So that's the Elite Heat section.
Yes.
Those are our main awards.
Yes.
Now, Kevin, let's move it on.
Let's take it. All right, so now we're getting to the wrestling portion of this. Award number 4, the 2023 Match of the Year. The nominees are Bryan Danielson versus MJF from AEW Revolution 2023. Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Page in a Texas death match at AEW Full Gear 2023. Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega, NJPW Wrestle Kingdom 17. Gunther versus Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus, WrestleMania 39. Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest, Backlash 2023. The Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens from WrestleMania 39. Those are our nominees, pal. Take it away.
Kevin, this category is honestly a really hard one to do because all of those ones you listed, they're really the main ones. They're like the main matches that come to my top of my head. I know, and you're pretty similar as far as like the matches of 2023. And they're all very different. Like you look at each of those ones you've just listed, you got a 64-minute Iron Man match, which is one of the great Iron Man matches we've ever seen. I think that's one of the greatest, if not top 2 or 3, with MJF and Bryan Danielson. That was just so well done. Everything about it. Swerve and Hangman, as we established, wasn't, for me per se, that style was a bit more niche. The deathmatch style, but they did a deathmatch about as perfectly as you can in modern day wrestling. That was just a masterpiece in its own right. Ospreay and Omega was your quintessential 35-minute Tokyo Dome classic, your Wrestle Kingdom marquee match. That was everything you'd want from that sort of style of wrestling. Gunther, Drew, and Sheamus was just 17 minutes of just a brutal war at WrestleMania. Like the fact it was at WrestleMania does so much as well. I feel like it was just, I know I think this, you think this, everyone who's watched that match, just you couldn't look away. It was an unbelievable match. Bad Bunny and Priest meant so much to so many. It was such a great match. I'll let you discuss this match. Bad Bunny, Damian Priest. Like when you look back on this year, like what does that match mean?
Well, for starters, right? This match had no business being as good as it was. That's the number one thing here. Bad Bunny is the Michael Jackson of this generation. You know, the Prince, whatever you want to say. He's the biggest pop star. One of the biggest pop stars. It's like him, The Weeknd, and Drake. You know, the biggest pop stars of this generation. And he just came into WWE, had a crazy match. He had a 4.5-star match. Dave Meltzer gave this match 4.5 stars. Again, that's the Michael Jackson of this generation coming in having a 4.5-star match. It's unheard of. That's the main reason why I have this here. You know, that this was they stole the show at Backlash. Did a main event. You know, maybe they didn't want to put too much pressure on those guys, whatever the case may be. It did a main event, but it was the match of the night. And it's one of the highlights of the year. When people look back at wrestling in 2023, it's remarkable to look back at and see just this match that it was incredible. It should not have been a 4.5-star match. No way. On paper, you look at this, you're like, oh, maybe they'll go 10 minutes. It'll be fun. But you got Bad Bunny getting like suplexed off of the stage through tables, taking kendo stick shots, hit with trash cans. That guy is for real. That guy is a real wrestling fan. That guy really wants to be in it. He got legitimate injuries, scars. I mean, it says a lot right there. But yeah, go ahead, pal.
No, it was just exceptional. I mean, that visual of after the match, Bad Bunny, he's like draped in the Puerto Rican like the flag, and like he's celebrating, like the crowd's going nuts. Just they're like, to me, iconic, synonymous images with 2023. It's just brilliant stuff. And then also, Usos, Sami Zayn, KO, just your best tag team match of the year. That was sensational. Kevin,
can I make an observation? I'm sorry, before you go. Yeah. I just want to make an observation here that I noticed. Everybody, not everybody, but most people's MVP of 2023, Seth Rollins, didn't have a nominee here. Was there a Seth Rollins match that was that good? Can you think of one that was that good? Like, his match with AJ was good, but was it that good?
No.
The one at Night of Champions?
No, his match against, if I'm thinking Seth Rollins 2023, his best match was against Logan Paul at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I agree. And that wasn't nearly as good as the other two WrestleMania matches that we have on here. Yeah, I just want to make that observation. Also, I'll say this too real quick. Bryan Danielson, I think he had like 3 or 4 contenders. You know, we could have put either of his matches with Zack Sabre Jr. His match with Okada, a lot of people love that. Bryan Danielson had a banner year.
Yes.
For 2023. Bryan Danielson, like, people thought he peaked in 2014 and then he peaked again in 2018. No, he's still going. It's crazy. At 42 years old, having arguably the best year of his career. Just want to say that.
Yep, and he's firing CM Punk backstage. So, I mean, he's doing an all power in AEW. This being said, do you have a winner? Like Kevin, I'll ask you now. The 2023 match of the year. Also, by the way, this is how we're going to do these awards. If for these ones and just going forward, let's say if we both agree on the winner, they're just the clear winner. If we have a differing opinion, we'll have a little debate. If we decide, one of us wants to give in to the other's opinion and agrees, then we'll go with that. If we can't split it, then we'll go to you guys, listeners. So, Kevin, your 2023 match of the year is?
I gotta go Gunther versus Drew versus Sheamus from WrestleMania 39. That was what, the first 5-star match in WWE in like God knows how long. I know they had one in NXT, but like a WWE main roster match, the first one since Punk and Cena. I mean, for Money in the Bank. So yeah, that match was incredible. If that match took place in Japan, that's legitimately a 6-star match. That, like, there's no debate around that. If that is on Japanese, I know we say that a lot to joke around, but if that happens at Wrestle Kingdom 17, 6-star match, and I have no doubt in my mind about that.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. That's my match of the year as well. Gunther versus Drew versus Sheamus, IC title from WrestleMania. That was just, I've watched that like 7 times. I can't believe what those guys did in that match. You could not look away, which is one of the hallmarks of a great match. It felt like it was go, go, go from the jump. And it wasn't like, Drew doing his big dives, the physicality, the brutality.
Oh, yeah.
You're watching just going, oh my God, and like how they're hitting each other. It was just, unbelievable match. And it wasn't too long either. Like, it went 16, 17 minutes. It didn't need to go 35. 65. Like, it was just exceptional. So yeah, that's the 2023 match of the year, pal. Don't think there's much debate there.
Oh yeah, love it. All right, so next is a fan favorite and my personal favorite, the most disgusting promotional tactic. This is gonna get interesting. So Tony Khan went on Twitter when he was having his meltdown, and in an effort to promote AEW and promote Dynamite and get some sympathy for AEW, he said that when his mother was terminally ill in the hospital, not terminally ill, but when his mother was ill in the hospital with a serious illness, that WWE poached some of AEW's wrestlers while that was going on. Just a poor promotional tactic, in my opinion. Then the huge announcements all the time, just a little side note, But
yeah,
Ric Flair being used prominently in AEW after Tony Khan had gone on record and said Ric Flair was not welcome in his promotion. Ric Flair was not a good human being, etc. And then Ric Flair is out there on Rampage telling 18-year-old women to meet him at his hotel room to promote Woo Energy and his energy drink brand. So disgusting.
wow.
Santos Escobar on SmackDown cutting a promo wishing legitimate sepsis infection and leg amputation on Rey Mysterio for no reason whatsoever. This has led to nothing. Nothing has come of this. Santos Escobar and Dragon Lee had a match at Survivor Series. Santos Escobar punched Carlito backstage, injured Carlito. In a backstage segment, so Carlito couldn't wrestle. That's all that's come from this. So Santos Escobar wished a first ballot Hall of Famer legitimate illness and legitimate death for no reason whatsoever. Yeah. Here's a fun one for you, pal. I'll indulge you here with this one. Cody losing at WrestleMania 39 to promote WrestleMania 40. It's funny. I think people might actually put that when Dave Meltzer's version of this comes out. I think people might actually put that on the poll, which is awesome. The last one, Tyrus, our buddy Tyrus, the second most overrated wrestler of 2022, going on Fox News to promote the NWA with the NWA Championship sitting on the desk as he's making extremely confrontational and controversial takes about politics and social issues. So that's fine. He could do all that. Good for him. But to do that to promote the NWA, some might think that's disgusting.
Yeah.
So
well, Kevin, what a category this is. I mean, this category. Obviously, Wrestling Observer's had their one for years. This has been a historically WWE led category. You've had your Vince McMahons have been littered throughout this category for years now, and a bunch of other WWE related business. This year, Kevin, it's more mixed spread. There's a bit happening from all over the joint in wrestling. You mentioned Tyrus and the NWA. Obviously, our friend Tony Khan, pal, Ric Flair, Santos Escobar, and that SmackDown promo. You could give an honorable mention to Christian Cage and him referencing dead family members of different opponents and him going a bit too far, you could say, or you could mention the MJF quarters angle. You could mention that.
We got to use that. We got that. Put that as a 6. Since every other award has 6 nominees, put that in there. The anti-Semitism being used from Jay White. That was in the middle of what was going on in the
3
world.
days. 3 days after what happened in the Middle East. Unbelievable.
Yeah, put that in there. Yeah,
we're throwing that in there as a nominee. The Juice Robinson quarters segment, 6 weeks out from Full Gear for no reason.
Yeah,
to MJF.
Did absolutely nothing to promote the match. Nothing. Like MJF's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, and then they did an ambulance angle the night of the show, and MJF was injured. So
Kevin, I want your opinion here. I'm genuinely torn between two on this.
Flair and Tony Khan.
Sorry?
You're torn between Flair and Tony Khan, right?
No. Well, Flair's one of them. There's not Tony Khan, believe it or not.
Wow.
Ric Flair and everything encompassing that everything's been saying, the Woo, like the fact that he's there to literally promote overpriced Woo Energy. If I wanted to buy a 6-pack of, ordering it from the US, it would cost me $60 Australian. So there's the Woo Energy Ric Flair things. That's one.
Let's get my notebook out. Keep going.
He's getting his notebook, pal.
Yeah.
And the second one, pal, the MJF Juice Robinson quarters angle, 3 days after what happened in the Middle East happened.
Right.
The timing, the fact that it was so unnecessary, that defines a disgusting promotional tactic. It was just completely unnecessary, abhorrent, ethically disgusting. and AEW went there. So it's either Ric Flair or it's Juice Robinson, MJF in the quarters. So, Pal, what do you think, Pal?
Yeah, I gotta go with MJF at the quarters. Yeah, it's crazy that we even have that on the original nominees. Like that didn't even cross our mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flair's a close second though. That's brutal. That him wanting 18-year-old women to knock on his hotel room door, like, ugh. But yeah, go ahead.
Just real quick, sorry, before you go, I'm just putting. So I'm 20 for context.
Yeah.
These are girls, women 2 years younger than me, in like the 12th grade at school. All right, and Ric Flair is turning 75.
Yes.
Ric Flair is older than most of our listeners' grandparents.
Well, we know who Josh Giddey's favorite wrestler is.
Not going there. Kevin, carry on.
Okay, so are we in agreement?
Yeah, we're in agreement, pal. MJF and Juice Robinson, AEW doing that quarters segment literally 3 days after what happened involving Israel, all that.
Yeah.
That wins most disgusting promotional tactic. Ridiculous timing. Just poor. Poor. Not good.
I just want to say this. Triple H writing this on a piece of paper, and that it says Roman Reigns defeat Cody Rhodes. That should not be a nominee. But it probably will be when the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Awards comes out. You know, I'm gonna make an account with the Wrestling Observer Newsletter. I'm gonna subscribe just so I can write Paul Levesque writing Roman Reigns' name over Cody Rhodes on the WrestleMania 39 card is the most disgusting promotional tactic of the year. I'm gonna add that into the category.
That's fantastic, pal. I'll introduce the next category.
Please.
This one, our 6th award, and our third general wrestling topic. 2023 Faction of the Year.
Yes.
So, Kevin, I'm going to read you the nominees. So, the Judgment Day, I mean, every Raw, they headline every Raw pretty much most of the year. So, the Judgment Day, the Bloodline, headline most SmackDowns. There's always something involving the Bloodline. So, the Bloodline. Imperium, Gunther's been IC champion all year. They've been in a fairly prominent spot on Raw all year. So, that's fair. Damage Control. On the women's side of things, they've been the stable of the year. And then this one, Kevin, this isn't an on-screen stable. It's a behind-the-scenes one.
Jesus
Triple H,
Christ.
Shawn Michaels, and Nick Khan. As a faction, as a trio of the year. I was going to throw Ari Emanuel and all these Endeavor or TKO people. I'm just keeping it simple. Triple H, Shawn, Nick Khan. As a faction, they've taken WWE to heights they haven't been in since the Attitude Era. So that being said, talk to us, pal. What do you think? Walk us through those nominees.
And I'll throw in an AEW nominee as well. I'll put the Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah,
you know, Moxley, Claudio, all those guys. Shout out to them, doing great stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna give this to Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Nick Khan. Yeah, that's the winner for me. Triple H, Nick Khan, and Shawn Michaels are collectively putting on just phenomenal programs after phenomenal programs, brokering great business deals. I mean, they mended fences with CM Punk. They got CM Punk to return to WWE. You know, I mean, what more is there to say? Triple H has put on a banner year of from a PLE standpoint. 2023, as we went over last week, 2023 is a banner year for the 12-month pay-per-view years over the past 2 decades plus. 2023 is at the top of the list of best pay-per-view years. And then Shawn Michaels, what he's done with NXT, he's gotten people invested in it. He legitimately caused a meltdown and a tantrum from Tony Khan by loading up and booking one of the best NXT shows of all time. It defeated Dynamite in the ratings. I believe it was Adam Copeland's debut as well. Yeah, so I have to go with that. I know it's kind of silly to have that, but I mean they're real. They're for real. They're running stuff backstage as a unit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, obviously shout out to the on-screen ones. You know, obviously Damage Control did their thing. All the nominees did their thing this year. Particularly Judgment Day. I think they're a bit stiff here. So if we're talking just on screen, it's the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
And obviously you mentioned Blackpool Combat Club. But Judgment Day had the best, I guess, TV year. The Bloodline, they just weren't there enough. The story didn't progress much. And as we discussed with them, around SummerSlam time with the Usos thing, it just felt like they were sort of just going around and around, not in circles, but just sort of running themselves in circles to some extent to try and get through to next WrestleMania season. And there was some stuff where it's just Jimmy Uso and Heyman on SmackDown and Sikoa representing the Bloodline. Reigns wasn't there most of the year, so I can't say them. You know, but yeah, this being said, Kevin, Triple H, Shawn, and Nick Khan, we can agree. The faction of the year, 2023. Those three had an exceptional year as a trio. Look forward to seeing what they can do in 2024. The heights they can take this business, pal. They're doing wonders for wrestling, pal. They're putting it back into the mainstream, back into relevancy, back into breaking records. You love to see it, pal. You just love to see it.
I love it. Yeah, so then we have the 2023 PLE of the year. I'm going to throw two more in this because we have four originally. I'm going to throw two more, see if you agree. So we have WrestleMania 39, AEW Revolution, Backlash, Survivor Series. And I want to put Money in the Bank in there, as well as Elimination Chamber. What do you think? I think Elimination Chamber, like the culmination of that Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns storyline, the crowd being hyped up. Money in the Bank, the Civil War. The Money in the Bank match was actually good for the first time in forever. That show in England in front of those fans, like the crowd alone gave that show an extra point and a half on a scale of 1 to 10. Yeah.
I agree. I mean, as you just said, it's been about a year for pay-per-views generally. It is hard to narrow it down. I mean, I picked, WrestleMania 39, Revolution, Backlash, Survivor Series, Elimination Chamber as well. I mean, that was just a great show. I mean, you mentioned Money in the Bank. Just a banner year generally. I don't think there's much debate here as far as the winner. I think the winner's pretty clearly WrestleMania 39.
Yeah.
Just as an event, the grandeur of that, WrestleMania going Hollywood again. We've been over this, particularly last week in our week in review, year in review, what made so great, everything about it. We did a whole breakdown, like 15 minutes about WrestleMania specifically, but just to summarize, they did so much right. It felt like WrestleMania for the first time in many years. WWE hit the nail on the head across the board. By and large, one or two decisions here. Shane McMahon's knee exploding. Yeah, not great. A little bit of the booking on night 2, sure, if you want to really nitpick. And yeah, the ending of night 2 with Cody, whatever, we've been over that. But as an event, so much was well done. The entrances were amazing. The matches were really good. Celebrities are used really well. Talent was put over for the future. Just great all round. So yeah, Kevin, I'm going WrestleMania 39 as PLE of the year. You agree?
I agree. Yeah, I got WrestleMania 39. 2 5-star matches on WrestleMania 39. Incredible. The main event, the big headlining match, Roman versus Cody. Was it booked the way that people wanted it to be booked? Maybe not necessarily, but it was everything from a spectacle standpoint that we haven't seen in a WrestleMania main event since Rock and Austin. I mean, not Rock and Austin, Rock and Cena.
Rock and Cena.
Yeah, realistically, like that's what it, that's what it was. It was two big stars in their apex going up against each other. The storyline wasn't great. Not really. It wasn't a great storyline, not compared to the Roman Sami Zayn storyline, but it was the biggest babyface in the company, Cody Rhodes, the biggest heel, Roman Reigns. Just everything that you look for. You had Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair casually there. A lot of people loved that match. You and I, we feel like we watched a different match than other people, but everybody else thought it was great, so I'll shout that out. Rollins versus Logan Paul was fun. So we had Cena, potentially Cena's last WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar, Omos, like so much fun stuff happened on that show. I just want to say this about Survivor Series. I think if Survivor Series 2023 happened in any other year, that you could argue that would be pay-per-view of the year. Like if that happened any other year from the past 7 years, that would be the best pay-per-view. Survivor Series was awesome. The return of Randy Orton, a fun War Games match for the men and women. The women's War Games match was incredible. I mean, we could have thrown that in matches of the year. That's a top 10, top 12 match. That women's War Game match was awesome.
That is true.
Yeah. That show was awesome, top to bottom. Even The Miz had a decent match with Gunther. I mean, at 43 years old, doing his Cena 2015 impression. Overall, Survivor Series 2023 was a fantastic PLE, very close to WrestleMania, in my opinion.
Yeah, and just on to the live series before we move on. Like when I objectively reflect on that show, like I know we ended up giving it, I think we gave an 8 or like an 8.25 out of 10.
Yeah,
I think. But when I objectively reflect on that, yes, at the time, we were complaining. I know I was at least. Gunther Miz shouldn't be going 13 minutes. The match was objectively quite good for what you'd expect from the Miz, and it's a Gunther match. That was really good. The only real negatives I can think of from that show was I remember there was a stupid commercial they did or some backstage segments. I was like, what? That was really the only. Yeah, the only fair, legitimate gripe to have was that sort of stuff, because in the ring, bell to bell, it was just a phenomenal event for 3 hours, and then CM Punk came out at the end in the most viral moment ever. So any other year, that wins far and away. But
CM Punk's return alone, just blast that show up. Good.
Yeah, but WrestleMania this year was just outstanding in so many ways. So we look forward to 2024, how that goes. WrestleMania 40, does that exceed WrestleMania 39? That's going to be great to see. So, Kevin, there's that one. Now,
yeah, I want you to take this one, please.
Yes. Now, this one, in the past year, wrestling Twitter, it's become wrestling X. There's been a lot of bad tweets, bad takes. This one, yeah, people have bad takes on wrestling on Twitter. It's Twitter. Takes are bad generally with the world on that app, on that platform. This award is the 2023 worst tweet, worst X of the year, pal.
Worst post of the
Worst
year.
post
That's what they
on
call them
Twitter.
now.
This one, there's one nominee, one winner. This is the worst tweet I've ever seen. This one was in our Worst of Wrestling stream from back in March, I believe, maybe February.
Yeah.
I still read this back and I go, how someone tweeted this, I don't know. The name of the account is AW Destroys WWE, 3 exclamation marks. The tweet reads, as I quote, "The 3 cancers of WWE, Nick Khan, so the president, equals Adolf Hitler. Vince McMahon equals Mao Zedong. Triple H equals Joseph Stalin."
Need we say
that's
more?
the tweet. That's the tweet. Now, Kevin, I'll pass you in a moment, but I just think, yeah, you can have bad wrestling takes. You can say something insensitive, like, oh, I think, or whatever. Insert bad idea, bad take, just generally, this wrestler sucks, even though they're good. This wrestler should be here, whatever. This is legitimately comparing 3 wrestling figures in the wrestling space, 2 of which are unanimously just about beloved, Nick Khan and Triple H. Vince, yeah, it's Vince, whatever, but comparing them to 3 of the most evil, horrible people the world has ever seen who committed legitimate, unspeakable crimes, tragedies, dictators. I read this tweet and was like, oh my God. So, Kevin, that wins worst tweet of the year. Do you have any comment on that, or do you want to move on?
Well, allegedly, Vince McMahon has committed some serious crimes. Allegedly, none of them, not all of them, have been proven factual. So, but yeah, this tweet is terrible. I mean, come on, you calling Nick Khan Adolf Hitler, like because he makes a Mike's Harder's lemonade commercial with the Miz being thrown in a box. Like that. What Triple H is Joseph Stalin because he wrote on a piece of paper to have Roman Reigns defeat Cody Rhodes. Whatever. Yeah, let's move on. Okay,
let's move on, Kevin. Let's move on. I'll pose the category now. The next award, 2023 Promoter of the Year, Best Booker of the Year. But we lump this into one. Really, it's the same thing. Booker, promoter. This one, Kevin, do you want to get us the nominees?
Do we need nominees? It's Triple H. It's Triple H. Is there even a competition for this? Is there? There's no competition. Like, you could say you want to throw Shawn Michaels out there, sure, but I mean, yeah, we've already praised Triple H enough. I did it enough with the banner year of PLEs. The guy has done it all. Everything he's made WWE everything that we've wanted it to be for the past decade and a half, since they went PG in 09 when wrestling really started to go down the toilet. Triple H has brought it back in a major way. Triple H has showed that PG wrestling can be entertaining and fun and good. Yeah, Shawn Michaels, you could throw his name in the hat as a nominee. As far as that goes, I think they're the only 2, really.
Well, Kevin, yeah, I mean, as far as the other promotions, I mean, let's be fair across the board. Impact, like they signed the deal to become TNA again.
Yeah, Don Callis. Yeah, you want to throw Don Callis?
No, it's like
Scott D'Amore, I think, is booking. I don't know. New Japan, Gato. I mean, New Japan sold like 800 tickets for a show in Las Vegas. You were lagging. I'm sorry, I was cutting you off. Go ahead. You were lagging. Say what you said.
No, I was just saying what you're saying. Like, nothing like New Japan or Ring of Honor or any of these promotions. Like, it's clearly Triple H. They're just objectively, clearly, Paul Levesque. He's done wonders. And one more thing on that. I look at Triple H now, what he's done. Triple H has ruled and made the JTE YouTube channel pretty much redundant. Like, I built my channel basically off the back of terrible, bad WWE booking. 1, roasting it, but 2, rebooking and just booking a normal, well-run WWE product. Triple H is doing that now in real life. So there's no need for, like, the essence of my content is, like, pointless now. So that's a good thing in many ways. It's great for the wrestling audience. It's great for the business as a whole. So love to see it. Triple H, deserving, well-earned, best booker, best promoter of the year, pal. And Kevin, I just have to say, he overcame a shoot cardiac event to win this award. Put that in perspective. Triple H, genuinely dead serious, nearly died in a hospital bed, and he's now doing this. Like, it's unbelievable. Like,
The hell of a story.
God bless Triple H, pal. Nothing but great things to say about him.
That's a hell of a story. All right, next award, worst booker of the year, goes to Tony Khan. For a number of things, right? Worst booker / promoter. Well, if you want to be a great booker, right? You probably, for one, the way he handled the CM Punk thing, or for the first go around, when he comes back and he's unable to get CM Punk and the Elite to shake hands, he ends up having to create a whole show for a guy. On Saturday Night Live, just put AEW more in the hole from a debt perspective. Vince McMahon never in a million years would have created a separate show for Bret Hart and his friends, or Shawn Michaels and the Clique in '97. Vince McMahon would not have done that. You name it. Like for Ultimate Warrior and Hogan, he would not have done that. Triple H, I don't think he would do that either. If like Seth Rollins and Punk were like, "Hey, we don't like each other," create a show for me, pal. No, like Triple H probably not going to do that. And then firing your biggest star, your biggest draw, and not protecting him, because CM Punk should be protected for one. Like if the travel issues are real, if CM Punk really had to go ask fans how to get to the arena in Wembley, it's an embarrassment, a disgrace as a booker and a promoter. And then you got a job guy, an undercard guy, a guy that's on the pre-show making fun of your top star, like that. If you're a good promoter, that shouldn't happen. You know what I mean? Good booker wouldn't allow that to happen. You got the Young Bucks clowning around. We're gonna talk about that. Doing a victory lap, like that's a joke in and of itself. Yeah, and then that's not even counting what we see on the screen. What he's done from a television standpoint. You've got Adam Copeland and Christian main eventing, over the TNT Championship. MJF going on like 8:45 p.m. Not great booking. The quarters thing that we talked about. The pay-per-views are pretty good. The AEW pay-per-views overall, they end up being watchable. Getting to them, not always the best content. It's just not been a great year. Not been building stars. There's been a lack of emphasis on what AEW was and is. They've really been directionless this year, and that's at the helm of Tony Khan and his right hand, pal.
Well, pal, Triple H, and as we just discussed, Triple H put the WWE forward. Like, they made real great progression. They did a lot right. Tony Khan and what's happened with AEW, they've gone backwards. They've taken a lot of steps back this year in a number of ways. And you didn't even bring this up in the list, the laundry list you mentioned. Someone like Malachi Black, and these wrestlers who were signed 1, 2, 3 years ago as game changers at the time was the joking term, but generally big or just WWE signings, misused WWE talent under Vince McMahon. Now they're with Tony Khan. Malachi Black didn't get a singles match on AEW Dynamite this year, and if he did, he didn't win one. So it's that sort of stuff where, okay, so I guess this Malachi, a great talent in his prime years, is just sitting backstage and catering for a whole year, not really getting any sort of spot, like wrestling a few tags on Collision, maybe wrestling maybe on Dark once or twice. Like, that's how they sort of use genuinely pretty good talent. Like, it's pretty sort of disappointing. Tony Khan with his toy box thing. Oh, I'm interested in this wrestler for a couple of weeks. Oh, wait, no, now I'm interested in this wrestler. It's because he wants to please everyone. He wants to dibble-dabble with bits and pieces of, I'll push you for a bit, you for a bit. You're better off just saying, look, as we've discussed, we're not going to go fully into this. These are our 4 guys. These are our 6 guys. These are our supplementary 5 to 10 guys who are going to be upper mid-carders. These are everyone else. If you're not in that group, sorry about that, but that's just how this business works. Tony's trying to please everyone, but he's pissing a lot of people off in the process because you're not selling ice cream. You're a wrestling promoter. You got to make hard calls on things. That's just what it is. That's the nature of the business. Paul Levesque walks into a room. He's the leader. Everyone's like, okay, yeah, I may not agree with my position, but I respect Paul Levesque. I respect what he's saying. If he thinks I should wrestle just undercard, mid-card, and I can maybe work my way up if reactions, I work on a few things. I respect that. I can do that for the next year or two. That makes sense. Tony Khan, wrestlers clearly aren't clear on their position. You got them going on Twitter liking tweets about how the vibe isn't the same, the feeling's different. It's not great. So we can pile on Tony more. We'll leave it there.
Yeah.
We'll give the award. Worst booker and promoter of the year, Tony Khan. Well earned, well deserved, undisputed.
Ooh, I'm so excited for this one. Our 11th award, the 2023 Clown of the Year award. Yes, let's go, pal. All right, so the nominees are Ric Flair, for calling 18-year-old girls to bang on his hotel room door. Yeah. Tony Khan for his Twitter meltdown after the ratings loss to NXT, where notably he mentioned that Cena and Undertaker had never been a part of a show under 1 million viewers, while Edge, his biggest star, had never been a part of a show under 1 million viewers and was at a like 650,000, right around there. That's what AEW pulled in.
Correct,
So
correct. Yeah, he's trying to pile on John Cena and the Undertaker. Well, I haven't seen them not get 1 million viewers, and then one guy on Twitter made the valid point. Well, when's Edge got 600,000 viewers on a show he's been on? Huh?
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you know,
Speaking of Edge,
yeah.
good old buddy Adam Copeland blocking me on Twitter, causing me to take the gloves off in one of my great rants of 2023. And then my personal winner, and I think you will agree with this, the Young Bucks. I think they're the clown of the year for dancing in Chicago to celebrate the firing of CM Punk. Now, there's so many ways we could attack this. There's so many angles you could go down. I'm gonna say this: these guys are in charge of the company. They're the EVPs, allegedly, right? And we don't know if they are at this point or not. Allegedly, they're in charge of the company, helping run things with Tony Khan. And the objective, right, for a wrestling company, for any company, is to make money, to be profitable, to do good business, to drive interest up for any entertainment company. So, one, Tony Khan fires CM Punk. Okay, cool. It had to be done. Tony Khan was afraid for his life. Okay. For them to come out and celebrate this, like it is a great thing, like it's the best thing that ever happened for AEW. Coming out there in Chicago, a crowd that has made AEW what it is, a crowd that has embraced AEW, a crowd that AEW relies on whenever they want a packed out show, a packed out pay-per-view, a packed out Dynamite, a packed out Rampage, they go to Chicago. Without Punk or not, Chicago was the heart and soul, is the heart and soul of AEW. So to do that to those fans in Chicago, to come out and celebrate CM Punk not being there, to go spit in the face of the people that have really been your biggest supporters since you've been birthed as a company, it's embarrassing. It's unprofessional. It's the definition of a clown moment. And then CM Punk was making fun of them on Raw doing his victory lap. Like, yeah, bro, I just did 6 figures in merchandise sales, pal, on one night after returning a Survivor Series. Yeah, here's your victory lap. Here's the the bird that I don't want to give. But so yeah, that's the Young Bucks take this away clear as day. Tony Khan, his Twitter meltdown was embarrassing, childlike, clown-like. Ric Flair calling 18-year-old women to bang on his hotel room door, embarrassing, clown-like. Adam Copeland blocking me on Twitter, embarrassing and clown-like. That's the rated R superstar, pal, blocking someone for having legitimate, fair analysis of a promo on Collision. You know, legitimate, fair criticism. I did not say anything crazy disrespectful. I did not come at his wife, come at his family, come at his livelihood. I just said, hey, a little cringe moment in the promo, and he's like, oh, block this guy. That's clownish for someone of Adam Copeland's level. A multi-millionaire actor, movie star, wrestler, super famous, top 20 guy all time, and to be on Twitter blocking people with giving him critical analysis, fair critical analysis.
And what makes it worse, what really drives that home, we just discussed this 10 minutes ago. You look at the 2023 worst tweet of the year, you got people on that app comparing Triple H to Joseph Stalin, Nick Khan to Adolf Hitler, these outrageous, disgusting, ethically abhorrent, vile statements, these blistering, just like horrible allegations, like just these horrible things to say. You say, well, this I expect more from the great Edge than doing this on Collision, which is literally what you said.
Yeah.
And then he blocked you.
Yeah.
So unbelievable. Like that one, like all those nominees for that clown of the year, what has you just been over? Each one of them in their own right is just so bad. Like they're just utterly ridiculous. We tried to think of if WWE had any really notable like clown ones. Even if they do, nothing compares to those 4. Like those 4 are just egregious. The Young Bucks take it by far.
Yeah.
I mean, Punk alone doing 6 figures in merch sales and like running up his numbers on one night. Kevin, I don't know the data on this. I'd be interested over what time period from present day, how far we have to go back for the Young Bucks to have sold as many shirts as CM Punk sold in that one night. Like, I'd love to know.
Probably their peak in 2018, I'd say, around there. When they were in like malls, when their shirts were in malls in America, probably at that time.
Yeah, so like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So in the last 6 years, maybe the Young Bucks have sold as many shirts as Punk did in that one
Yeah,
night.
exactly. Yeah, it's
That,
crazy.
that's
Oof.
the context. And you got these guys literally hitting the cha-cha slide in front of a bunch of people with best in the world shirts, Punk caps, Punk gear, CM Punk fans, Chicago fans. And these idiots are doing that as the executive vice presidents. By
Embarrassing.
far the clown moment of the year. Young Bucks take this award far and away, Kevin. I don't think there's any more debate on that one.
Absolutely not. All right, next. 2023 Breakout Star of the Year. The
Yes.
nominees are Trick Williams, Swerve Strickland, Dom Mysterio, Cora Jade, LA Knight, and I want to say this. I want to throw Jey Uso into the mix. I think Jey Uso's been a breakout single star. He's
Ooh.
really established himself as a single star. For years, nobody could tell them apart, the Usos. And now Jey
Yeah.
Uso's legitimately one of the top baby faces in the company. He's got
Yeah.
Yeet over, like Rover. People are doing like the hand gesture. He gets one of the biggest reactions every single night when he comes out. I think he's a breakout star, undisputedly.
Yeah. And what I will say, preview for next week with the Elite Heat 25. I think this is not a crazy statement by any means. Jey Uso has had a legitimately better 2023 than Roman Reigns. He just has. So I look at that and go, this guy 3 years ago was like, he was literally doing karaoke segments. We've said this a million times. He was hosting karaoke where Lacey Evans was performing Triple H's theme song, or like that rubbish on SmackDown in front of no fans. Now he's coming out. He's got the crowd popping. He's got his slogan going, like all that. He's a legitimate single star. So yeah, Jey Uso's had an amazing year. That's a good shout for Breakout. Kevin, to me, this one, as much as I wanted to give this award to Dom Mysterio personally, I think Dom deserves it. But that said, I can't go past LA Knight. Yeah, pal, LA Knight. What was he doing a year ago? 2 years ago? The NXT thing with the $1 million title. He was dibble dabbling. Oh, he's gonna come up to the main roster. Or he's on SmackDown. Where's the direction? Gets into the feud with Bray Wyatt. There was some debate. Yeah, we discussed on our show the Mountain Dew Black match at the Royal Rumble. Bit odd, but then he really clicked in a gear. Like after WrestleMania, from then on, this has been just pretty much the year of LA Knight. He's been one of the prominent stars. Every show, crowds are going nuts. His chant, CM Punk even mentioned him in Punk's promo segment, Tribute to the Troops, which I thought was big. If CM Punk's mentioning you as one of these stars, you've well and truly made it. LA Knight's gone from some lower rung sort of mid-card, lost in the shuffle, lost in the pecking order act, and now CM Punk's mentioning him as one of like the 5 guys he references, 5 main event stars he mentions in his promo. So I think it's a huge deal. To me, LA Knight's the breakout star of the year. What do you think, pal?
I don't even think it's close. Like, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that it's not close. I don't want to say that. I think it's very close between Swerve Strickland, Dominic Mysterio, and LA Knight. You could make a case for any of those 3 guys. I think objectively. I think in any other year, like if you take LA Knight out, any other year is Dom Mysterio, or any other year is Swerve Strickland. They've all had legitimately big breakout years. Swerve Strickland has been one of the few positives of AEW's booking. And AEW, what they were supposed to be, making young stars and being different and being unique. That's what Swerve Strickland is, a young star, different, unique, stands out in every way, should be an AEW champion. He's carrying them from that perspective. He's like really the only thing that resembles what AEW was supposed to be or was promised to us that it was going to be. Dominic Mysterio, everything he's done this year, the WrestleMania match with his father, the storyline, all the stuff, the ridiculous segments with Rhea Ripley, just crashing Rey Mysterio's Valentine's Day dinner with his wife, all the crazy stuff, man. The entrance of WrestleMania, being the biggest heel from WrestleMania season to like pretty much now, like he still gets really big reactions. He's kind of cooled off though, a little bit to a degree. LA Knight's been hot the whole year. LA Knight has jumped from nobody, a 40-year-old nobody, probably ready to give up on wrestling, probably ready to look at other avenues of making a living, to becoming the biggest merchandise seller in WWE behind Roman Reigns and John Cena. He's 3rd right behind them, consistently selling the most t-shirts month by month for the last 5-6 months. Yeah, he's a huge star. Main eventing against Roman Reigns, he takes it.
And just, on LA Knight, one more thing before we move on. LA Knight's the perfect case that yes, for a lot of these wrestlers at the moment who one are either struggling to get over, maybe they're more so based on in-ring wrestling. Maybe they can't just get something to click. It's a character thing, but it's also just you need a thing. You need whether it's LA Knight, yeah, Jey Uso's got the the year like all these big main eventers have something. Cody's got whoa like with his entrance. Gunther's got his entrance and all that, and you need something. So that's the sort of thing for all these wrestlers, which I'm sure, especially in WWE, Triple H as the leader has probably gone to each one who hasn't made it yet and probably explained to them different ways they can go about getting that. So yeah, LA Knight's found his thing. He's over like all hell. So yeah, LA Knight, well deserved 2023 Breakout Star of the Year, pal. Now, moving on, pal, I want to introduce this next award, okay?
Yes, please.
The 2023 segment of the year. Now, this year, there's been a lot of pretty good segments. Now, it's not a year, in my belief, that there's just been one standout segment of the year. I know, 2011 had the pipe bomb.
I disagree. I think there is one standout. I think there is, but go ahead.
I'll read the nominees and we'll get to it. So we've got 6, 7. There's a few nominees to this. I'll rattle them off. Now, firstly, Sami Zayn to Montreal when he had his hero's homecoming on SmackDown.
Amazing.
The Friday before the Elimination Chamber. That was incredible. Like watching that live was like goosebumps sort of. That was nuts.
I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it.
Insane. So there was that. Roman and MSG, that specific segment, you may get them blended together. The first 40 minutes of SmackDown was all bloodline. It was building up towards Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso at SummerSlam. I believe it was the Raw SmackDown after Money in the Bank or around that time. There's a bunch of Civil War conflict going on. Roman's crying. That was the one with the lay, I believe, where Jey talking, Roman nutshotted him and he's crying. That was the best bloodline segment, I think, all year. That may just be me. I thought that was just phenomenal. 40 minutes in MSG, pal. How good, pal. Roman performs in MSG, unlike the Knicks. So
wow. Jalen Brunson put up 50. IJS. I think that was in Phoenix, though. But Jalen Brunson put up 50 last night. I'm just saying.
True. That was nuts, by the way. 9 of 9 from 3, 50 points. Like, what the hell?
Come on.
That's insane. Anyway, the rest of these nominees. CM Punk, either the Tribute to the Troops SmackDown promo or the Seth Rollins Raw, he's deciding his location promo.
I'll stop you there. That to me is a runaway segment. That's Seth Rollins CM Punk segment. That's the one, that segment of the year, and it takes it by a landslide, in my opinion.
Really?
That is the most talked about segment of all the ones that we're going to mention here. That segment, I think in 5-10 years, we're going to look back at that as the segment that defines 2023. Just everything that's incorporated there. You've got CM Punk. He made his return promo on Raw the week prior or whatever it was, and he got his time cut. And then the SmackDown tribute to the troops was fun. That was him pandering to the crowd, come on guys, where am I gonna sign? Come on. And then that was getting to business. Him and Rollins. That's getting to business. That's setting the foundation for the feud of the year for 2024. I mean that both guys. That was Rollins' best promo I've ever seen him cut, in my opinion. I can't tell you another great Seth Rollins promo. That was a great Seth Rollins promo. Everything he said to Punk was insane. Punk brought the best out in him. I'm challenging you to think. Can you think of anything that Rollins has done on the mic that resembles that?
Not on the mic. No, as far as the Seth Rollins side of it, objectively his best by far. No dispute whatsoever. Only devil's advocate I will play on that. That promo has been done in AEW by Eddie Kingston, MJF. The sort of, you're not one of the people back there. We don't want you back there. And in this case, obviously, there's a bit more with Rollins because he's been the WWE flag bearer for 10 years, per se. He's been there through and through. So there's a bit more weight to it, I must say, and the delivery was excellent.
Here's the difference, though.
Mm-hmm.
There's 4 million more people watching this segment than they were watching Eddie Kingston say this to CM Punk. So I just for being on a larger scale, being real. There are people that don't know that CM Punk wrestled in AEW. There are people that don't know AEW exists that are watching that Punk Rollins promo. They have no idea.
No,
that's
fair. I'll rattle off the other nominees just while we're here. The Adam Cole MJF friendship segments, we bunched them into one. They did a good job with that. That was legitimately good entertainment from AEW's standpoint. Adam Cole MJF. Tribal Court on Raw Triple X, pal. That was really well done.
Yes.
The LA Knight Roman Reigns contract signing, pal. where LA Knight barged through Roman Reigns during his entrance
that
and
was
then
awesome.
obliterated the tribal fraud during the
Yes.
segment. That was great. So those are the real other ones. But yeah, I'll agree with you, pal. Segment of the year 2023: Seth Rollins, CM Punk. Punk decides his destination, which brand he signs with. Monday Night Raw for whatever date that was. That was the 11th of December, I think. Monday the 11th. Just great stuff.
Oh yeah,
Great stuff.
that's the version of Seth Rollins that WWE thought they were getting when he broke out from the Shield and became the WWE champion. We haven't really seen that version of Rollins ever. We haven't seen Rollins involved in a personal storyline like this, big time feud like this. So I don't know. It's gonna be good. All right, next one, pal.
Yeah.
Now, 2023 moment of the year, and I think we all know the winner of this one. So I'll start here. The Royal Rumble ending. That was incredible. The whole like the Usos and Sami Zayn. Oh, is Sami gonna turn? Oh my God, he did. Oh my God, it was great. Great stuff. Yeah, everyone in the crowd was like that. Christian telling Edge to go F himself. That's a meme worthy moment. That hit the mainstream of Twitter. That made its rounds on so many memes. Yeah, you had people like, oh, me when my boss tells me to come in early on my day off or whatever, come in on my day off. So yeah, good stuff. Indulging you here again. Cody being robbed in a politically motivated hit job at WrestleMania 39. Yeah, Sami Zayn in Montreal. I assume you're talking about the Elimination Chamber entrance, right? That was, or you?
Just generally, it's a combination of that segment, which was nuts, and then the Elimination Chamber entrance, and like everything up until he lost the match because of a rig job. But yeah, besides that, it was a powerful Sami Zayn in Montreal. Just generally that it was like encompassed as a moment, pal.
And then Bad Bunny's entrance in Backlash. Bad Bunny, the WWE tapping into Bad Bunny's discography using one of his top tier songs, Booker T. Great song, not a top tier Bad Bunny song. Cambaya is a great song. The whole crowd knew it. It's a beautiful entrance in the island of Puerto Rico, pal. And then here we have the undisputed, no doubt, winner of the 2023 Moment of the Year, and that is KSI dressing up as a Prime bottle at WrestleMania 39. Unbelievable moment, bro. What?
Sorry, Kevin. I thought the moment of the year was going to be when Vince McMahon took the headset from Paul Levesque and booked the Raw after Mania. Excuse me?
Wait,
I thought we were doing Vince McMahon booking Raw after Mania to please Endeavor. What?
Pal, KSI dressing up as a Prime bottle got like 20 million impressions on social media.
Great, and CM Punk got like 150 million impressions.
No, for real though, the best moment of the year, CM Punk's return in WWE. Yeah. Hell froze over. This was Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels shaking hands. This was Ultimate Warrior coming back, Bruno Sammartino coming back. That's why they say never with wrestling. They all come back except for Macho Man Randy Savage. CM Punk came back. Macho Man would have came back if he didn't pass away, though. I'm sure Macho Man would have came back. But Punk is back. Nobody saw it coming. Well, we kind of saw it coming, but WWE did such a great job making you think it wasn't going to happen. And the way they did it was just awesome. Like, the show's over. We get the graphic. Everybody's about to freak out. Literally, millions of people are about to tweet, oh my God. Like, you're going to have AEW fanboys, these geeks, like, oh, y'all thought CM Punk was coming. And then all these WWE fans that were hurt, oh, Triple H promised to CM Punk. People were going to freak out. That would have caused a Twitter divide if CM Punk did not show up at Survivor Series, unlike anything we've ever seen on Twitter. But he's here, and he broke the internet. And he's brought wrestling. Wrestling was here already in the mainstream. I feel like wrestling's even like getting more and more relevant by the day now. It's incredible what CM Punk has done.
Yeah, well, no, it was just nuts. Watching that live was unbelievable. Sitting there, they get the whole camera shot of the All-State Arena. You see the big War Games cages, Randy Orton's music and whatever. They're in the ring, and then it's like, okay, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Paul Levesque snatches the headset back. He commands Kevin Dunn, play Punk's music. Punk, walk through. Phil, go. Play the music. Kevin Dunn.
Thank you for that. Wow. Yeah.
And you got like, Bruce Pritchard, and they're all like, oh, this is great. Yeah, it was exceptional. It was just the best moment we've seen in years. We've said since, the streak was the most shocking, but as far as the best for unbelievable. It was a moment which even still nearly a month later, I'm like, that happened. Like what? It's one of wrestling. I feel like when we look back on the 2020s and the last 10, 15 years of wrestling in a few years' time, when CM Punk and Triple H, that photo is like the synonymous image of wrestling. That's as synonymous as the Undertaker sitting there looking shocked as it says 21-1. That's that level of imagery. That's the fan in the front row being like that big dude who was like, oh my god, like that's the level of like just synonymous iconic wrestling image. That image I think will be on par with the Rock and Hogan face off. That's one of those wrestling images that goes in the annals. So.
Oh, it's right there with like Vince with the black eye when he's doing the Brett screwed bread. Like it's up there with all the iconic images, bro.
Yeah, when you have these WWE, like the life of WWE documentaries, and you have, here's Hogan body slamming and facing Andre, here's WrestleMania 6, here's all the stuff, the timeline wrestling, here's the screw job. There'll be a picture of CM Punk and Triple H and Punk in that white t-shirt. It's just synonymous. So that clearly wins moment of the year 2023. Not even close. And carrying that on, Kevin, we're going to throw this category in now. The I'm Him moment of the year. Kevin, this is your category.
Yes.
I want you to introduce the I'm Him moment of the year.
All right, so we have three nominees for this. One, Swerve Strickland stapling himself several times during that Texas death match. I mean, that's a bigger. I can't think of a bigger I'm Him moment in wrestling, but in general in life, if I saw someone do that, I'd be like, yeah, that guy is him. Like that dude's crazy, Then we have Bryan Danielson firing CM Punk from AEW. I mean, bro, that takes a lot of gall, He's not even in charge of the company. He's just a wrestler. And he's out there firing CM Punk.
So, Kevin, you said there were 3 nominees. Is the third nominee Tony Khan, the guy who runs AEW, responding to a no-profile picture, low-life bum on Twitter with 14 followers? Is that the third I'm Him
nothing
moment?
says I'm him like a 42-year-old billionaire responding to a guy with 0 followers on Twitter. Yeah, that's very, very alpha-like, pal. No, but this is a clear I'm Him moment of the year. This was going to be the only nominee, but I threw those 2 in there just for fun. This one right here. CM Punk, his performance at AEW All In 2023. There is no bigger I'm Him moment in the history of pro wrestling. Maybe. I don't know. Vince saying Brett screwed Brett, that's a big I'm Him moment. But this is up there. Top 10 I'm Him moment in the history of wrestling. CM Punk, backstage at All In 2023, is watching on the monitor as Jack Perry is performing on the pre-show in the undercard, where he belongs. And Jack Perry calls out CM Punk, looks in the camera and says, "Cry me a river. It's real glass." Jack Perry walks into the backstage. CM Punk punches out Jack Perry, puts him in a headlock, causes Tony Khan to fear for his life, and then the show opens in 10-15 minutes. You got Dean Malenko and Gorilla. Go, Phil, you're up. Phil comes out, walks through the stage, through the ramp, whatever you want to call it, got a grin on his face as he opens the biggest show in AEW's history. There is no single bigger I'm Him moment in wrestling in 2023. CM Punk was like Harley Race in 1981. If you got like Harley Race, you got some bum making fun of Harley Race backstage. Harley Race gonna punch that jobber out and then go wrestle Ric Flair and then go drink all night and have a million beers at the bar and do whatever alpha males do. So CM Punk did his Harley Race impression, did it bigger, just by the times, naturally. Come on, the guy's him for that. I mean, come on. He punched out a rich kid, entitled, spoiled brat, undercard jobber wrestler, and then went out with a smile on his face, opened a show in front of 90,000 people in a football stadium in England, and wrestled Samoa Joe and had a great match with a smile on his face.
I've nothing to reply to that. That is bang on, dead on the money. You've nailed that. No, the I'm Him moment of the year. I've nothing else to input there. Now we move on to our big 2 closing awards. So firstly, the female MVP. This is the female wrestler of the year. Now, Kevin, the nominees are, I'm going to read off the nominees I have. If you have anyone extra, as we've been doing the show, feel free, add them in. The nominees, Becky Lynch. She's had just an absolute banner year. I mean, we'll discuss this more in a moment. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Toni Storm. Kevin, do you have any other nominees for us, pal?
Yeah, we got to put Julia Hart in there. She's had a hell of a year for AEW. She's been another bright spot, another future star. It's like her and Swerve Strickland, just about. Like, and Toni Storm, those like the mega highlights of AEW. Yeah. I guess we should throw Bianca Belair in there.
Yeah. Pal, I was going to say, Bianca Belair this year, I'd compare, she's like the Giannis Antetokounmpo not that you take the greatness for granted, but it's sort of just like, well, compared to what she did in 2021 or 2022, it wasn't that level, even though what she's doing is still phenomenal. She was in like the main event scene of one of the women's divisions for 6 months. She was the champion, and she hasn't been injured all year. She's wrestled marquee pay-per-view matches all throughout the year. She's in the women's War Games match. She's like the captain of the team, basically. Like, she's had a pretty good year, but just compared to her own standards, it's not as good as other years. So, yeah, she gets hardly done by as far as not being like one of the top 2 or 3 sort of go-to nominees, but she's still had a great year. So, shout out Bianca Belair, 6th nominee, pal.
Absolutely. I got to give this to Rhea Ripley. I think Rhea Ripley is the MVP. I assume you're gonna say Becky Lynch. That's what I think.
Becky's had a better year. She
Yeah.
just has. Better matches, done more for the show. I think Rhea Ripley hasn't had any good opponents this year, really, besides Charlotte at WrestleMania, which that's more of a blight on the booking. Really,
I just think she's been the biggest star consistently. She's been the face of Judgment Day. She's the leader of a male driven faction.
Yeah.
She's the best featured star. She's been the champion for a long time. She's been the best character. Like, I think for her it goes more than just matches. And she's had good matches. She had a lot of people probably say the women's wrestling match of the year was Charlotte Flair. Easily a match of the year candidate. A lot of people will say that.
Now, Kevin, me being Australian, I should just be like biased here, like, well, Rhea by far, Becky Lynch isn't even close, Rhea by far. But well, I compare them. It is so hard to compare because Rhea has been champion since WrestleMania and is the integral figure in like the main storyline on Raw in an all-male stable. She's like the leader of an all-male stable. She's confronting authority figures, doing all that. But on her, like the female side of it, she's had no opponents the rest of the year. Zoe Stark, the match against Zelina Vega was good at Backlash, and there's been like a fatal 5-way against like Nia Jackson, like whoever else I can find in catering. That's like, so from her, like her women's output has been subpar this year from like, because she's had no one to work with because of booking. It's not even her fault. But what she's done from the male space has been phenomenal. She's been like the face of Raw just about in that regard, which has been nuts. Becky Lynch has not put one foot wrong. She made the Trish Stratus thing legitimately good. She had a great match with Trish Stratus at Payback, one of the top 3 women's matches all year in the steel cage, a Payback against Trish Stratus. Women's War Games, Becky was an integral figure of that. One of the other best women's matches of the year. What Becky did for NXT, putting over Tiffany Stratton in the future of NXT, the future of women's wrestling in that regard. I can't think of one thing Becky's been involved in that's been bad. And she's been more essential to the women's space. So it's damn near impossible to assess. I don't honestly almost put Rhea Ripley more in like the male MVP basket because she's done more in that space than most of the males.
Yeah.
And that's nothing disrespectful or anything. It's just saying she's done so much as far as like the main character of Raw. It's nuts. So it's so hard to judge. It's like comparing apples to oranges. Both are fantastic. I'm saying Becky. I'm saying the oranges, pal. Orange hair, but apples, I don't know. Like it's damn good apples, pal. But oranges are good too, pal. It's hard to assess. Let's hope the apples and oranges collide. Elimination Chamber, pal. Perth, 75, 80, 85,000 people in Optus Stadium, pal. 90,000 in the stadium. Emus.
Oh my god. I think if we're talking value, Rhea Ripley is clearly the more valuable piece to me between Becky Lynch and herself. She's the leader, like I said, the leader of Judgment Day, one of the main characters of Raw, if not the main character of Raw, for consistently throughout 2023. Responsible for moving a ton of merch. Like Judgment Day moves a lot of merch on her shoulders largely. She's just been, I think, the biggest star, biggest attraction. I think that goes a long way. I digress. We'll see what the viewers think. Let us know what you think, who the women's MVP of 2023 is.
What I will say, I'll not concede, but I will say this. We'll deem Rhea Ripley the female MVP for this year, like the wrestler of the year. I think this one's a bit like an NBA sort of situation where Rhea Ripley is just like the best, generally. Like she's just the biggest star.
Yeah.
She's viral on TikTok. She's like incredible mainstream appeal, doing everything she can right, really. So she's just like the best. But if this is like, with like the NBA MVP, for instance, I think Becky's had like the best year on its like merits, just as far as matches, everything I just listed. So it depends what you want to do. I think Rhea's just the best, so we're gonna give it to her. But I think Becky's had a better like year, just like that. So
there you go, pal. All right, so now our final award to close the show: the men's MVP, 2023 Male Wrestler of the Year. We have 6 nominees. Cody.
Pal.
Yeah.
So the nominees, I know some of you want us to list, you're probably thinking Cody, you're thinking Gunther. Well, pal, this is the male MVP. Kevin, we have to include guys like Keith Lee, the Wizard,
Oh,
Wheeler
man.
Yuta. Pal, we need to show
Oh,
respect to the talents working.
jeez.
What about
Jeez.
Takashita, pal? Are you going to
Jeez.
include Takashita?
Jeez. I
Anyway,
digress. I
being serious
digress.
now, Kevin, the nominees are
Cody, Gunther, LA Knight, MJF, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk. I would like to petition to throw Brian Danielson's name in the hat. I like to throw an extra nominee in there. I think Brian Danielson is worthy of it. I think Will Ospreay too, as well. But yeah, so we're working with those names. Man, there's so many ways we could go about this. I think every guy has a case to be made. Most notably, Roman Reigns is not on this list.
Yep.
And that is not by accident. Roman Reigns, WWE has showed they don't need him. Quite frankly, Roman Reigns adds to their value, adds to their business, is their top draw, is their top attraction, but they don't need him. They're at a point now where they don't necessarily need him to be there every week, and that is by design with his part-time schedule, and it's working out for both parties at the moment. Yeah, I think for me it comes down to 2 guys. Realistically, I think here now, I think with 2023 as a total in a scope. If we're talking MVP, I think it's either Cody or CM Punk. I think they're the 2 guys. Seth Rollins, yeah, he's had a great year, wrestled a lot of matches, won a championship belt that was a consolidation prize because nobody could beat Roman. MJF has had a great year, great 6-8 months, kind of tailed off since like October-ish. LA Knight, I think he's the weakest nominee. I think Brian Danielson, in my opinion, is a better nominee than LA Knight. Brian Danielson had like what 4, 5, 6-star matches this year. Match of the year after match of the year candidate. LA Knight, he's been great, good on the mic, some good mid card feuds, a good match with Roman. I don't know if he's quite in the MVP level yet. Good.
I'll throw one more nominee in. You mentioned Brian Danielson. I know people will cry out for him. Will Ospreay.
Yeah, I mentioned him too.
I know, just from the matches standpoint, if you look in that space, these nominees are different. Like LA Knight is in here because he is just a merch machine and over like all that. Guys like Brian Danielson, Will Ospreay are there for the bell to bell, for the magnificence power of what they did between the ropes. So they're all different. Kevin, carry on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Then Gunther. Gunther's here. He made the Intercontinental Championship more relevant than it's ever been. He's carrying that belt with pride. He showed that he could flex on the mic, pal. He buried the Miz several times leading up to their match at Survivor Series. Good stuff from Gunther. Every match he's involved in is good, no matter who it is. Even with a cokehead like Riddle, had a decent match with him. He's a front runner for this position, pal. Then Cody returns to the Royal Rumble and had an absolute banner year. 2023. And he could have a bigger 2024. Who knows? Who knows what can happen with Cody? Everything he's done this year has been box office must see. He's a merch machine, pal. He's moving merch. The feud with Brock was great. The feud with Roman was great. Everything he's been doing with Jey Uso, winning the tag team titles, all that stuff has been fun. The War Games, him being on the poster, the match that his father created, that whole story, good stuff. Just all around, everything Cody's been involved in has been good. He's, like I said, the main attraction. He's the guy that people are paying to see at the house shows. They're going to see Cody Rhodes. He's lived up to his potential. That potential when people in like 2011 on Reddit, they were like, yeah, Cody is a guy that's going to be WWE champion one day. And you had some YouTubers making fun of him, and all this. This guy sucks, blah, blah, blah. All that. Stardust, all this. Cody is here now in 2023 at 38 years old, living up to that potential that was once granted upon him. I think I'm gonna go with him. I think Cody is the MVP of 2023.
Kevin, how I view this. So we discussed a moment ago the Rhea Ripley Becky Lynch thing, where Rhea Ripley is just like the best sort of female player in this sense, and I believe Cody is the best male best male player of 2023 in that regard. I think Gunther is similar to a Becky Lynch. Pretty much hasn't put a foot wrong. from like a sheer, I mean, you put matches and what they did in the year, you can make a very valid case that they're the MVP of 2023. I know our listeners, a number will have Gunther as the MVP, and that's fair enough. To me, I'm doing the same thing I did with the Rhea Becky thing, where yes, I do believe Becky's probably, if you look at it and you really nitpick everything, Becky's probably the better year than Rhea, but I'm giving to Rhea just on the stardom, the everything she's been involved in, all that. Same thing with Cody and Gunther here. They're my top two for my nominees. I'm giving it to Cody, same as you. I think just his year from top to bottom, as the star, as the face of WWE, he's picking up a lot of slack because Roman's just not doing his job. Roman's wasted a year of his prime. This is a year of your prime big draw of the company, as we've discussed. I'm not going to bury this to death, but he's not there. So Cody's really picked up the ball and ran with it as the number one name. And then there's been a great support crew around him, and he's done a great job. He's been over consistently. His entrance, Kevin, from the moment he returned to the Royal Rumble through until every time he comes out now, thunderous, whoa, like huge reactions, amazing entrances. Everyone's into what he's doing still. He has a little feud with Nakamura. People are really into that. Everyone thinks that's great. He's doing the stuff with War Games. You list his 2023 CV. An awesome year. The Brock feud, did it get repetitive at certain stages a couple months in when Brock just kept beating him up? Yeah, sure, fair. But what it did produce, the moment of SummerSlam was awesome. The Backlash ending was great. Like the storyline, it was a traditional babyface storyline. Cody overcame all these beat-ups from a top 12 all-time wrestler, Brock Lesnar, who was full-time for the first half of the year, by the way. Pretty cool. So you look at that. You had the big WrestleMania main event, that face-off, him and Roman. That is the stars of our era, the stars of our generation. So, awesome year for Cody all around. Nothing but good things to say. The other nominees had great years, but this was the year of Cody, 2023. Is 2024 even better? Do WWE feel that, it's been super successful without Cody winning the title? Let's just keep that going. Let's just have Roman sit at home. Why change anything? That's the direction I think they'll go. Waits to be seen. They'll play out in 2024. But what we do know now, Kevin, my male wrestler, my male MVP 2023, Cody Rhodes.
There you go. We agree on every award, pal. This is incredible. I'll say this about Roman. In September, he passes Terry Bollea's title reign record. Will he get Bruno? Probably not. But would WWE maybe like to have him pass Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea?
What does that achieve for anyone? Who cares? Why?
I know. I'm with you on that.
It's a scripted championship.
I'm with you.
Kevin, I know you're saying this, but just generally, it's the stupidest thing. It's like, who cares? It does not matter. But that will be, Kevin, I'm calling this now. That'll be, as well as the fact that the year's been running well and WWE's been breaking records as is, that and this Terry Bollea 14 whatever day reign that Roman can surpass. That'll be why Cody doesn't win and doesn't finish his story. Because Cody not finishing his story, as you pointed out in April, it's going to do good for money, pal. And Cody's been fine so far, it seems. He's our MVP. He's carrying the load regardless. It's just disappointing that Roman's failed WWE and WWE's failed Roman Reigns in 2023. It's a letdown.
Yes, sir. All right, pal. With that being said, that's our 2023 awards show out of the way.
Yep.
You want to take it around the world, pal? You want to get the globe out?
Yes. This one, I don't think we'll do for it's not going to be a huge around the world. It's not going to be like our, my rant on Elimination Chamber or some of our other around the worlds that have been blistering your grocery store stories or, why we had a 3-hour delay in recordings or anything like that. It's not like that this week. This week, I just want to discuss 2 little things with you, just sports related. First one, Kevin, I want your honest opinion. Kevin, you've grown up, right?
Okay.
You've watched the NBA. You've been a big Kobe guy, Dwayne Wade. You've been watching the NBA for years. You were watching the Detroit Pistons in the 2000s. Yep. Sheed, Wallace getting ejected all the time.
Yep.
I ask you this. Yep. Draymond Green did a KO punch, a sucker punch to Yusuf Nurkic and nearly KO'd him on an NBA court.
Yes.
He's been suspended indefinitely. This comes after, within the space of 2 weeks, the Rudy Gobert incident where he headlocked him in a move that Roman Reigns would be proud of, that the headlock talking to the camera, among other incidents. Kevin, I ask you this. What are your thoughts on Draymond Green being out of control?
Well, I think it's not a great look for the NBA. Um, so Ron Artest, those of you probably don't really, some of you, the younger listeners, may not be familiar with him. Ron Artest was notorious for, the what do they call it, the Malice in the Palace, where
Mhm.
he punched a fan, you know, and he never lived that down. Like that kind of, he was a star. Like people don't know, but Ron Artest was like a legitimate all star, like one of the top 15 players in the league. That's part of the reason why the Lakers won 2 championships. People were like, "Oh, Ron Artest was just a defender." No, Ron Artest was a legitimate All NBA guy with the Pacers. Um, so it kind of ruined his reputation, ruined his credibility. Allen Iverson, he was painted as a thug by media because he had like an incident in college where he was like underage drinking or whatever, got in a fight with somebody. He was painted as a thug throughout his entire career. A lot of racism involved in the criticism of him. Now Draymond Green is here. And now we've gone the other way where people are like afraid to say anything about this, Where it's like, oh, Draymond Green is just passionate. He just loves the game. And then you've got like Kevin Durant, and like Nurkic himself. They're like, bro, the guy needs help. The guy needs anger management issues,
Yeah.
Like, well, and he punched Jordan Poole last year, his own teammate. He's had the incident where he kicked LeBron in the balls. I mean, there's a highlight reel tape you can find on Twitter of like 3 minutes of Draymond Green's incidents. He stomped on Sabonis on his ribs. The guy's out of control from that standpoint. And it's just, a lot of people say, oh, but it's a throwback NBA game. He's like Rodman. Dennis Rodman wasn't out there stomping people once a year. Like Draymond, Draymond's good for once a year stomping somebody out. And Steve Kerr won't say anything because maybe Steve Kerr is afraid of the guy. I don't know. Steve Kerr never says anything. Steve Kerr will go on rants about gun control and gun violence. But you ask about Draymond Green, it's like, oh, he's a great guy, great family guy. I know the real Draymond. Yeah, go ahead.
It's one of these media things, Kevin. I mean, you're very in tune with, like I said, like how media works. You're switched on, as most of our listeners, with this sort of thing. When certain things will be addressed and hammered down, and you're told over and over. I know, Kevin. Question for you: have you heard about Kyrie Irving this year? I haven't heard about him in months. He hasn't been mentioned. All of a sudden, he's just, it's all good. It's all day and night. All the media would talk about was Kyrie. Like every second story, it felt like negatively for like 3 years. Oh, Kyrie's evil pal. He doesn't love injections. Kyrie's horrible. He thinks the Earth's flat. It's like, okay, whatever. I don't care. And now with Draymond, it's like, okay, he quite literally did. Kevin, I haven't played basketball at the NBA level, but I take it because this doesn't happen all the time. If your defender, so you're standing here, someone's behind you defending, you know where they are. Okay, you know where your arms are. You're an NBA player. You're fairly coordinated. You're good hand-eye coordination. You don't just do that. You don't just like swing and hit him in the face. It's very easy not to do that. Okay, that's a conscious decision to, I'm going to hit him up here. Because even if you want to swing the arm, you swing it lower. He's a 7 foot tall man, and Draymond's 6'6", and he's gone like that and whacked him in the head and like nearly knocked him out.
Insanity. It's insanity.
Like, yeah, and like the Rudy Gobert one, and like people were defending that at the time. He runs over, sees red, and is like full choke headlocking, dragging this 7'1" Frenchman for like
and
10
people
seconds.
Are trying to pull him off too, and he wouldn't let go.
It was out of control. And like the Sabonis one last year, once people were defending that, or what else was he supposed to do? I don't know, not jump and stomp on his ribs. Like there's a way you can do it without jumping and stomping on his rib. All these things are just unnecessary and over the top. I get it. The NBA is soft, whatever. LeBron cries for calls, whatever. LeBron gets like literally punched and doesn't get foul calls, so he has to accentuate it. I get it. The NBA is not what it used to be. Draymond, I'm happy he's being reprimanded with the indefinite suspension. Good. Like, until this stuff gets resolved, until there's legitimate treatment, until there's behavioral management, I don't even know if it's anger management issues so much as it's behavioral management. Just like, don't just stand there and punch someone. Don't run over and headlock someone. I don't think it's anger. I don't think it's just like, it's dumb decisions. I don't know, but yeah, it's pretty wild. Now Draymond's getting some media scrutiny, but not even that much media scrutiny. Imagine if Kyrie Irving did this. Imagine if Ja Morant did this. Like, this would be all you'd see on every headline.
Oh, forget it.
Like, Draymond's getting more of the Josh Giddey treatment. They don't even mention it, really. It's weird. I don't know what's going on. Like,
Hey, you hit us with a no comment when I brought it up.
Mhm.
Your
I'm
defense.
just saying, pal. So
Just,
unless there's anything you want to say
I'm
about
just playing against
Draymond,
you.
I think
Yeah.
we've
Go
addressed
ahead.
Draymond now.
Yep.
One more question from my end.
Yes.
I'm not American. I'm
Yep.
not as well. I follow the Diamondbacks. I love the Diamondbacks, but I
Oh
don't
my
follow the MLB
God.
as diehard as yourself or some others.
Yes.
I've seen this contract
Hmm?
for Otani,
Okay.
which is 70 million a year, or it was, and then they've deferred and all this. I want to ask you now. I'm out of the loop on this. I'm not the biggest MLB guy. Explain to me. So he's obviously a huge star.
Yes.
This is obviously someone who's big because
Yes.
you're getting in Australian dollars over a $1 billion contract. In Australian dollars, it's like 700 million USD, which is over 1 billion Australian dollars
For 10 years.
For playing baseball. Obviously, there's lots of endorsements. He's a big star in Japan.
Yep.
Talk me through this guy and like how the contract's going on, what's happening, because to me, it's $1 billion for a baseball player, which is mind blowing to me.
Yes. It's reset baseball contracts. Alex Rodriguez reset baseball contracts 20 years ago when the was it the Mariners or the Rangers? I think it was the Rangers offering like 250 million, changed baseball. At that time, the biggest contract was like 70 million, like 80 million, and that changed baseball. This did it again. This is more justified. That was just back then that was a desperation ploy by a bad team trying to sign a good player because the Mets were too cheap to spend Alex Rodriguez. Don't get me started. Spend money on Alex Rodriguez. Don't get me started on that. So Otani, essentially what the Dodgers here are paying for is they're getting two players in one. Otani is the best hitter in the league, and he's a top 5 pitcher in the league. It's unlike anything that we've seen in baseball ever. Like, and I'm not being exaggerating. We've never seen a guy that can pitch and hit as good as this guy can. In baseball, traditionally, you grow up playing baseball like I did myself. You're either a pitcher or you play the field and you're a hitter. You're one or the other. And that's how it's been since the beginning of time. They say Babe Ruth did it. There's no video proof of Babe Ruth being a great pitcher and great hitter. We have the proof in the pudding with Shohei Otani. Yeah, he's legitimately the best player in baseball. And it's a wide margin. You know, like the second best player, whoever you want to name, Acuna, Freddie Freeman, whoever you want to put in there, it's Otani and then that guy. Who, you know, Otani's number one by far. He had a 50 home run season last year. He pitched like a under 4 ERA through I can't even know, a lot of strikeouts. He throws a 100-mile-per-hour fastball. He can hit a home run 500 feet. That's what this guy can do. That's what the Dodgers are paying for. You're getting two players in one, and not just two players in one, but two players that he's the best, damn near the best at both positions, both things he does. On top of that, it's Los Angeles Dodgers. They're the second biggest brand in baseball behind the Yankees. They're one of the biggest brands in sports. They are, the heavy Asian population in California. It's a big draw as well. You know, the guy is going to sell jerseys. He broke the record. I don't know if you saw this. He broke the record for most jerseys being sold in a 48-hour span that was set by Messi and Ronaldo when they announced the changing of their clubs.
Yeah.
So he's shattering records. I think Justin Fields was like the 4th. The Chicago Bears. Like, that's crazy. That's how starved that fan base was for a quarterback. But so there's so many factors that come into play here. It's LA, it's the draw, it's the biggest name in baseball going to the second biggest market in baseball, the Asian population. It's all that being factored in. You're paying for two guys in one. You're paying because this guy's gonna be selling out Dodger Stadium for 10 years, whether he's playing at his prime or not. People are still gonna be coming to see him play for 10 years. It's so many things factored into one. It's like if Giannis went to the Lakers tomorrow, in NBA terms. Like, if Giannis just signed with the Lakers. Now, baseball doesn't work that way. Like, if Giannis went to the Lakers are championship favorites. They're going to win a finals at some point.
Yeah.
You know, Giannis, AD, and LeBron. It doesn't guarantee the Dodgers will win a World Series. There's so much more to it than one player.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just everything combined. The value, how good of a player he is, the uniqueness, the spectacle, the stardom. There's just so many things going on there.
Well, it seems like one of those ones where at the time now it's a bit like, I mean, to me at least, oh my God, that's so much, yada, yada.
Yes.
But with how these markets go with sports and everything, give it 15 years, and it's probably like, oh, wow, that was a revolutionary deal. Because I imagine more athletes will be literally $1 billion athletes off contracts.
Well,
Like, we'll get there.
Well,
We'll get there.
Well, let me say this. So there's Juan Soto got traded to the Yankees. He's one of the best players in baseball. If Juan Soto goes to the Yankees, he's due for a contract. If he goes to the Yankees, he says, "I want Ohtani money." The owner of the Yankees is gonna say, "Well, can you pitch, bro? Like, can you pitch? If you can pitch, then we'll give you Ohtani money." So I don't think it's gonna reset things the way that.
Well, you think we're gonna in baseball terms? You think any 14-year-olds coming through at the moment, 16-year-olds, like these people who are in like baseball academies, these like next up and comers, you think they're not going to be like, oh well, my specialty is already hitting. I'm just going to become the best pitcher. I'm just going to only do pitching, and then there's going to be a bunch of people coming into the league for the next 5-10 years. Probably in 10 years, if you got little kids growing up mastering both, coming in who are just these ace who can do both, so everyone can do everything.
I thought it was physically impossible, genetically. I didn't think anybody could do this. I never even thought it was possible to be as good as he is at both, because it's a different kind of strength, when you're playing the game. To be able to hit the way he does and pitch the way he does is unheard of genetically. It's something. He's more of a genetic specimen than LeBron is, or Tiger Woods, or any of these guys that you want to put as like these apex genetic specimens. Ohtani, what he does is it's unheard of. I thought it was genetically impossible. There's been instances of people trying to do this. Usually you hurt your arm, you blow your arm out. You try to be a good field player, hitter, and pitcher. Your body breaks down, you blow something out. And that happened to him. He blew his arm out. He needs Tommy John surgery, but he can still hit. He can't pitch right now, but he can still hit. So, I don't know. I don't think it's not as simple as just a bunch of 14-year-olds like, oh, I can pitch and hit. Their body can't do it.
I mean, there's always a first for everything.
Yeah.
There will be more to come.
That's true. No, there will be more to come. There will. Absolutely.
I mean, this. We all know this with sports and everything. At the moment, it's like, oh my God, I don't know how anyone could, like, possibly, and then there will be more.
There will be. No, there will be. It's definitely gonna reset things. There's so much that goes into it with baseball. There's analytics. There's the mental side of the game. Like, you have to prepare to, like, because you're guessing what the pitcher's gonna throw when you're hitting, and then as a pitcher, you have to know like what kind of pitch to throw, what angle to throw. So it's so much. It's just mentally taxing to do both as well too. So we'll see what happens. But it's definitely. I'm
not saying every second player who comes in the MLB in 3, 5, 7 years is going to be Ohtani, every other, not every other year, but you'll have a couple more come along over the next 10 to 15 years after this. This sort of stuff's like a domino butterfly effect. So.
And I'll say this real quick before we go. It's Major League Baseball's fault. They market him terribly. It's their fault why nobody knows how genetically impossible this is, what he's doing, how unheard of this is. People barely know. You probably never even heard of the guy until this contract came out.
Basically, yeah, exactly.
It's their fault.
I didn't know.
They have this guy that is more impressive athletically than LeBron, and they don't know how to market him. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing from MLB's standpoint. This guy is, you name it, like Usain Bolt, all these guys, you want to name it, he is right there with that level of like genetic freak, and they can't do anything with it.
Unreal. So on that note, what a show, pal. What an episode. We'll call it there. This has been our Late Heat 2023 awards and a bit of around the world. Kevin, peace.